Hello everybody, this is Graeme, and today I'm going to be looking at a game called Marabunta. Now this is a two-player only game where each player takes on the role of an anthill, or a queen ant, or an ant ruler. I'm not exactly sure, because the theme in this one is pretty thin. But what did catch my eye is kind of the main mechanism, which kind of shows up here. It's a roll and divide, or an I split, you choose game. You'll be taking turns rolling 6 dice, representing the 6 territories on the board, and then taking a random tile and making 2 sets. The other player then gets to have the first choice, and they will activate everything that they've taken, and you get what's left over. Now, I have always felt this mechanism is very interesting. In Marabunta, you're going to be fighting over 6 different territories, which can be worth a varied number of points, kind of depending on how you set things up during the game. There are also cupcakes and crates to be found, which can give you one-time special abilities. So, will this game be as good as a cupcake, or has it passed its best before date? Let's get it to the table, see how it's played, and I'll come back with my final thoughts on Marabunta. Here's Marabunta set up. Now the board is placed in between the 2 players, and each player gets a colored marker. The 8 tiles are stacked with the crossed out cupcake tile at the bottom of the stack, with the other tiles are shuffled and placed face down on top of it. The dice are placed off to the side. The goal of the game is to get the most victory points. You get it by winning territories, finding cupcakes on the board, or finding crates and marking those off on your board. The game lasts until the cupcakes are gone, or all the hexes within a territory are filled in, or the last spot on a scoring leaf is filled in. This is a I split, you choose style of game. On a player's turn, they will take the top tile and reveal it, then roll the 6 dice and make 2 sets with those 7 items. The other player will then choose one of the sets, activate everything in the set they just chose, and then the start player will activate what is left. Let's have a quick look at the play area. On the territory board, there are leaves. These leaves show how many points a player will get if they control the matching color territory. They always start with 2 points apiece, but you can score up to 8 points. Now the hexes on the territory can be blank or offer a special action when you place a number there. On your player board, you have anthills, which are used to start a new ant colony somewhere on the board, groups of crates which can unlock a one-time ability or score you victory points, and a cupcake row, which will score points as you collect more cupcakes from the board. And finally, on the side is a place to mark off your points as you collect them during the game. So let's look at the dice. There's 1 die per color and matching territory. The flag on a colored die means you fill in a circle on the matching territory leaf. This means at the end of the game, if you control the territory, you will score that many victory points. A crate means you cross off one of the crates on your board. If you cross off all the crates within an area on your board, you get that bonus. A colored 1, 2, or 3 means you place a 1, 2, or 3 in a valid position in the territory of a matching color following the placement rules. 0, and each die has one of these, means you place a 0 in any region, again following placement rules. Now whenever you write a number on a territory, you must follow some rules. Any number you write must be adjacent to a number that you have previously written. It does not have to be in the same territory, but must be in an adjacent hex. If that is not possible, like the very first number you write on the board, you must use an anthill and cross it off your board. You can also use an anthill if it's possible to write another number, but you just want to place it in a non-adjacent hex. Once you have written something in a hex, it can never be changed. So that's it for the dice. Now let's have a look at the tiles. They'll give you 2 crates, which you cross off on your player board. Fill in a blank circle on 2 different scoring leaves. Write a 1 in an available hex, again following normal placement rules. Write 2 adjacent zeros, again following normal placement rules. Start an anthill with a 0. Cross off any 2 adjacent spaces, but they do not need to follow those placement rules. Use one of your dice twice, and the final tile, which will be used from round 8 until the end of the game, is to cross off 1 hex with a cupcake from the board. Some of the hexes on the territory board will have a bonus on them, either a cupcake or a crate. If you write your number on one of these, you receive that bonus. If you ever cross out the tile, for whatever reason, you do not get that bonus. The crate bonuses, which you get off by crossing off all the crates in the section, are kind of variations of the bonus tiles. The game ends when either all the hexes within a region are filled with numbers or crossed out, or the last circle in a scoring leaf is filled in, or all 12 cupcake hexes have been filled in with either a number or have been crossed off. When that happens, you finish off the round and go to scoring. You might have received points during the game which should be recorded as you receive them on your scoring track. We then go to each color territory. Each player adds up their numbers in that territory. Whichever player has the higher number will receive the number of points equal to the number of circles they have colored in on the matching scoring leaf. If there's a tie for a region, neither player scores the leaf. Do this for all 6 territories, Then the player with the most points is the winner. Now let's get back to see what I thought about Marabunta. On to theme and components. The theme in this one is pretty shallow. Really beyond that new anthill mechanism, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I mean, the theme is fun, but it's really not tied to the gameplay. And for a quick game like this, I'm fine with that. It's just an enjoyable theme. For the components, they're good quality. After multiple plays, the boards have stayed very clean. I do like that each color also has a symbol associated with it, so you can always match the symbol on the dice to the symbols on the board, both in the scoring leaves and the territories. Sometimes it can be a little hard to differentiate colors, so having that little extra visual clue definitely helps, even if they are pretty small on the dice. Now on to the gameplay. This ended up being kind of exactly what I wanted from this to be. Every single choice is a good hard one, whether you're making the piles or it's your turn to select a pile. This just works so well in this two-player game. You know everything that your opponent has going on the board, and almost everything that you have to split is going to be useful to one of you. This game is where you need to be watching not only what you want, but what your opponent wants. You have to be making good piles for both of you, and maybe making that opponent's pile just a little bit better for them so they'll take it, leaving you with exactly what you want to get out of this split. But maybe your opponent knows that and is going to take your pile instead anyway, just to maybe stop you from capturing a territory or getting more scoring points in the scoring circles. You know, getting cupcakes are useful. Every time you cross off a cupcake with points, you get those points. So it isn't just a, end of the game you just get whatever the highest cupcake you filled in. The crates are also useful. But what do you go for? You go for the large number of crates to get a big one-time reward? Or maybe those smaller ones are more useful, especially at the beginning of the game. It's controlling several territories, but only scoring the 2 base points, better than maybe concentrating on 1 or 2 and getting your scoring to the max for those territories. Is it worthwhile using a handhill just to go behind enemy lines and maybe try and cut them off from getting a crate or a cupcake? Now these decisions are not overly complex, but do require, some thinking, but not too much, just kind of right for this length of game. I like that there are several ways for this game to end. The cupcakes being the final one, the one that's always going to end the game. When the cupcakes are gone and starting in the 8th round, you're always going to be crossing off a cupcake to make sure that you are getting closer to that end of the game. Now, almost all the games I've played have almost always ended up with a cupcake finish in the game, but it has been close with the other options, so never count those out. Now, the game lasts about 20 to 30 minutes and ends, for me, just at the right time. There's always more I want to do. Maybe there are some territories I just never got to, but that's okay. You shouldn't be able to do everything you want to do. But you should see the end coming, so it's not a complete surprise. You may not know the exact round it's going to finish, but you can generally say, oh, this game is going to finish in 1 or 2 rounds. So, would I recommend this game? Yes, I would. If you're looking for a short, thoroughly engaging 2-player game, this is definitely one you should be checking out. I loved the implementation of that main mechanism, that iSplit you choose. It resulted in so many good decisions during this game. I like that almost everything I did felt useful. All the 4 actions, placing a number, filling in a scoring circle, getting a crate or a cupcake, felt important. There was nothing I was saying, oh, I'm just getting a cupcake this round. I liked how the game also ramped up towards the end. Those weight of the decisions definitely increased the more the game went on. Now, I don't really have very many downsides to the game. There can be at times, just through the randomness of the die rolls, especially in the later rounds, like the last round or 2, where you get dice that you just can't do anything with, or really don't move the needle. Adding a 3 to a territory you've already won doesn't really help. The game is also 2-player only, and the turns can get a little long if you're playing with someone with a high level of analysis paralysis. Now, I never really had the problem in my plays, but I can see with so many good options that it can happen. I also do wish the footprint was a bit bigger. I realized they wanted to keep it in this small box, but I wish it was just a bit bigger on the table. But really, none of these negatives majorly impacted my enjoyment of the game. So, after all that, my final thoughts are I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10 and the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence. I had high hopes for the game using this mechanism, and I was not disappointed. It'll be one of my go-to 2-player games in my collection. And that's it for the moment. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.